Ballistic Moon is listed as a 47-person company that was acquired by Sony. So the deal, which would require a legal declaration, even if private, may already be a thing. Something is up here, and it cannot be ignored. Why? Because you may remember Sony accidentally leaked its purchase of Bluepoint Games months before the deal was announced. It wouldn't be surprising if we're hearing about this acquisition in the coming months. I haven't seen, I don't know, like, it's weird. So here, I want to back up about why I think this pitch book thing is a canary in the coal mine, possibly. How would they know that? Like, and no one that's not a nerd knows who Ballistic Moon is. In fact, I don't think Ballistic Moon even has 1,000 followers on Twitter. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just that they're a small team. No one even knows what they're doing. And then I'm finding the link for you guys. I'm going to send it to you.
I found it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, here. I'll throw it in the chat. It says, clear as fucking day. Ballistic Moon overview. You might want to even can you even put this on the screen, Dustin? Show everyone, just so they can see it. Ballistic Moon overview from PitchBook. Founded 2019. So I told you the MCV UK article is from 2019. Status, acquire / merged. Employees, 47. Latest deal, M&A. And then if you go down here, ownership status, acquired merge, operating subsidiary, parent company, Sony. What the fuck is that? I have no idea what that means. Like, that seems to be like, like when websites are generating information based on just like databases and knowledge, and they're just kind of combing it all together. It's how like those, I have one actually, like, or a bunch of them actually, where it's like your net worth. It's like they're trying to figure this shit out based on, tax filings and housing and all that kind of stuff. So it could be very possible that this pitch book is gathering information from some sort of legal or economic database in the UK and has just published it right here. Because I don't understand how else this is here. This is for pay. This is a paid service. And I just think that's weird. I mean, am I crazy? Because I just want to back up and reiterate. Sony has never even acknowledged this team. I went and looked at the PlayStation blog. No acknowledgement. Went and looked at, they have never acknowledged that they're working with them at all. The only reason we know is from that leak. So I find this, now Ballistic Moon exists. They're hiring. But I don't know. Dustin, let's talk to you first. I mean, what do you think? Did I find something here?
I think that it's definitely possible. The thing that I'm curious about is in the top right of this site, there's a button that you can update this profile, which I would imagine with a site like this that you would need to have some kind of verification that if you are updating a page that you are verified to be involved with the company. But I'm really curious, if you were to pay for this service, if there's even more information. That's not something that you would just throw on there, because someone had to go and create this page. And yeah, I don't know, honestly. I mean, it from everything you've laid out, especially based on the information about the job listing stuff, I mean, I feel more like, why wouldn't this be true?
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah. So Chris, let's run it by you. Like, all right. So Ballistic Moon is founded in 2019. They gave an interview with MCV UK shortly after they're founded. They're founded, by the way, by people that have both first and second party experience in Sony. These people work on Until Dawn and some Quantic Dream stuff or whatever. So seemingly story driven content. So they're founded in 2019. In that interview, which is before COVID, they say that they have secured funding from a major publisher. And that's all we ever hear from them. Then and so they're existing out there in the ether. But then in 2022, in the summer of 2022, I think it's in August, there is a docket from a capture studio, like and I think specifically like a VO capture studio. And it lists, clear as fucking day, Project Bates, published by Sony Entertainment, developed by Ballistic Moon. And then the Project Bates thing also appears in another leak from internal, I think from Sony, where it lists a bunch of things that people are working on internally. And it says Project Bates. So these are both references to Ballistic Moon, but Sony has never acknowledged this game, never acknowledged this team, and hasn't announced that they're even working on a PlayStation project. But the connective tissue here that makes it interesting is not only this PitchBook website. Make sure we don't put the primary office thing there. We should blur that out if we put this on YouTube, so people aren't bothering them. But that's not only that, it's that Sony did buy a studio and then accidentally leaked it and then never said anything about it for months.
Yeah.
So they really do time these things, and they might be especially wary of announcing this for obvious reasons. Although I think it's very easy to it's like it's not Activision Blizzard, but I don't think they want anything distracting from that, and so they might not be ready to report it. But for people that don't remember, there was an art image from PlayStation Japan posted on Twitter that showed Bluepoint's logo as like "Welcome to the family."
Yeah,
and then they just deleted
clearly.
it. And I'm like, okay, so I guess that's happening. I mean, how do you make that on accident? And it just, so I don't know. Is all of this evidence suggestive that Ballistic Moon is the new Sony first party?
Yeah, I honestly think so. I think there's plenty of reasons why they wouldn't want to announce it immediately. There's plenty of history to bring up the fact, or there's plenty of history to back up the idea that they usually wait for these things to ruminate a little bit. They usually time these things out with very specific intentions. Obviously, the whole Activision Blizzard situation right now is a pretty good incentive not to say anything. I do think, with Quantic Dream and Supermassive kind of out of the picture now, to have a studio with some connective tissue to those platforms, or with some connective tissue to those types of games, working on something for your platform could be greatly beneficial, especially because I think even internally, I would imagine that Sony has to feel on some level that, they probably did lose something when they let go of Supermassive. Even if Supermassive hasn't done amazing since Until Dawn, I think they still understand that there's something about that style of game that is very special to PlayStation. And I think, I mean, I don't really have a lot of reasons to doubt that this is the case. It just feels like Occam's razor seems to suggest that, this is just, if they can accidentally tweet out Bluepoint is acquired, then they can certainly accidentally, or on purpose, acquire a studio and have it confirmed through really, really backwater legal channels that your average person would have no reason to be checking. I'm pretty convinced, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. I do think that this thing on this website is just so strange. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand this at all. It does say update this profile, but when you click on it, it asks you for a bunch of information. It's not like they're just updating it based on what you say. It seems like they vet you in some sense. Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, maybe this site sucks. I have no idea, but it just seems so strange.
It's a weird thing to lie about or to just make up, because assuming you do know about any of this, assuming you're clued into PlayStation in such a way that you would even know what this company is, why they would even be connected to Sony in the first place, why you would go out of your way to go to this random website and then confirm this thing that you assume, it's, I don't know. You'd have to make a lot of weird leaps in judgment, or you'd have to make a lot of weird assumptions about a person who would be willing to do this to mislead.
Yeah.
Whereas it just being real is a lot simpler.
Yeah, that's total Occam's razor, as simplest explanations. It's totally. I totally agree.
Yeah.
So when this is inevitably reported on by other websites, just make sure you remember where it came from.
This PitchBook website costs $25,000 for 3 users. It's not a cheap website.
Yeah, I was just actually looking at their about as well. They have a legit office and real people working at it.
Yeah. Now I did check to see, because there is a competitor to PitchBook called Crunchbase.
Yeah, I know that website.
Crunchbase has them listed as private still. So, and maybe that's not. Maybe theirs is only $5,000 for 3 users instead of 25.
Who knows? I mean, it's just it's like Chris really, I think, put well, which is that it's just a very strange mistake.
Yeah.
It's not like they said it's owned by Siemens or some random fucking company. It's like Sony. So yeah, either someone planted that to trick people, or it's another canary in the coal mine. But obviously we just don't know one way or the other. But I think it was compelling to begin and figure out if this is a team that they're going to acquire, as they continue to break precedent with the way they would usually do business, and have really gotten in bed with teams both very preliminarily early, way before they would usually do that, and teams that offer services as well. And we see that especially with Nix's and Haven.